So we go over a company called Ivory Tower and whether or not they should deploy crypto as part of their portfolio. Um, Using context, I think I determined that this was before Bitcoin hit 100,000, before it became basically the front runner and kind of anchored in as it is now. So, I mean, that adds more volatility and uncertainty about it with the time period. In reading this, I came to the conclusion that I definitely agree with Roxy Wen, because there's a really good point on page 3 in this article. It says there's no there's no gap guidance on how to account for this stuff. It's not considered a cash or cash equivalent, inventory, or financial instrument. So it needs to be treated like an intangible asset, which means if value falls, we have to mark it down on our balance sheet. But if it goes up, we report those gains only when we sell. So if we're meaningfully invested, we could be taking big random hits to our net income for no business related reason. And communicating the company's performance would get more complicated. Well, the main idea of a company is to perform for the shareholders. And I think a thing like Bitcoin kind of falls in the individual side of things where there's another quote in this article that said if they want to invest in Bitcoin, they can do it on their own. And it's not the job of the company to undergo that much volatility, um, even despite the benefits of it, which obviously I understand they're taking tuition payments in and they work internationally, so they can hedge themselves against the dollar value, which is good. And they can also just have, at the least, just an anchor in the market and something that could grow and grow their balance sheet. But on the flip side, I feel like the risk that they would undertake in deploying a large amount of assets into Bitcoin would be if they lose that money that their investors put in there, then I mean it's very hard to explain that to a board saying if that was a good decision. And understandably so in a market like this with um, developing internet financials, um, that Ivory Tower wants to keep up with neighboring companies and hopping on the Bitcoin train because it says that cutting edge companies in their market kind of already done it. But I feel like it's just something you can't do with full confidence with the shareholders in mind. Therefore, just not making it worth it in the long run. But I feel like if using the context of the article, I feel like if Bitcoin was at the point it is now, as opposed to where it was at like $60,000, I definitely feel like it would be a different conversation now because I feel like it's a more trusted asset with backing, and I think more governments and a lot of big companies utilize it to hedge their portfolios against inflation, against dollar value, and in international trade. So now I think it would be more of a conversation, but I have to agree with Roxy Wen on the point that at the most of what they should do in the time period is deploy only a certain portion of capital because the point is to optimize risk, especially in a corporate environment, is to optimize risk and be safe for your shareholders because, like I said, if Bitcoin falls then and your balance sheet is taking hits that it doesn't need to, then that is the worst possible thing that can happen for investors and very hard to explain to shareholders and the boards. So, um, but yeah, I think that's it. In closing, I think Roxy Wen's approach gives us the smartest path forward for Ivory Tower. Crypto in itself has risks, volatility, and definitely some regulation and accounting challenges. But it does have real potential as technology and finance continue to evolve in the online market space. Instead of ignoring it completely or taking too much risk, Roxy's plan, I feel like, provides the perfect balance where it sets limits and creates guardrails. By doing that, the company gets the best chance to benefit from the upside, whether that's new customers, innovation, or even long-term gains, while also protecting the customer's financial stability, hedging against inflation and the dollar value. Most importantly, it also signals that the company is open to change and willing to adapt, but still mitigating risk responsibly. And that's why I agree with Roxy's take on doing it responsibly, in a way that provides a middle ground between both approaches.